Obi could not remember a time when hunger did not sit beside him like a second shadow. It followed him from sunrise to nightfall, whispering in his stomach, tightening his ribs until breathing itself felt like work. He was an orphan not by choice, not by a single tragedy, but by many small losses stacked one on top of another. His parents had vanished during a season of sickness and hunger. First his mother, then his father, until only Obi remained, too young to mourn properly and too old to be adopted. He was taken in not by kindness, but by usefulness. Mr. Whitmore's farm was where unwanted boys went to disappear. The land was wide and fertile, yet it gave Obi nothing freely. From the age of 9, he woke before the birds, his bare feet cracking against frozen soil. He herded cattle bigger than himself, lifted sacks that bent his spine, and swallowed insults more bitter than the dust he breathed. When he was slow, he was whipped with words. When he was weak, he was laughed at. When he was sick, he was ignored. The other workers had families to return to. Obi had only a torn blanket and a corner of a leaking shed. On rainy nights, water crept under his body, soaking his bones until sleep became impossible. He learned early that pain did not kill you. It simply taught you how long you could endure. Mr. Whitmore barely used Obi's name. Boy was enough. Sometimes, when Whitmore drank, his cruelty sharpened. He accused Obi of stealing food he had never touched, of breaking tools he had never held. Punishment came even without guilt. Obi learned that innocence was not protection. Yet the land noticed him. While men shouted and cursed, Obi listened. He noticed how the soil darkened before rain, how certain birds cried when danger was near, how the earth held secrets just beneath the surface. At night, when exhaustion chained his limbs, he whispered his pain into the ground. It was the only thing that never told him to be quiet. One year, drought came like a curse. Crops failed. Cattle died standing up. Food became scarcer, and beatings more frequent. Obi's body thinned until his clothes hung like borrowed skin. His hands split and bled, but no one offered bandages. One afternoon, dizzy with hunger, he collapsed in the fields. Mr. Whitmore kicked dust over him and told him to get up or be replaced. Obi got up. Pain had become his language. Then came the storm. It was violent, sudden, as if the sky itself had finally lost patience. Trees snapped. Fences fell. The dry riverbed at the edge of the farm cracked open like a wound. The next morning, Obi was sent alone to repair the damage. No food, no water, only a hoe and instructions to finish before dark. As he dug near the riverbed, his hands trembling from weakness, his tool struck something that sang instead of thudded. A sharp, unnatural sound. He froze. Fear came first, then curiosity. He dropped to his knees and clawed through the mud with bleeding fingers until he uncovered a stone unlike any he had ever seen. Cloudy, heavy, hiding its beauty as if ashamed of it. He almost buried it again. Obi had learned that good things were dangerous. Good things attracted attention. Attention brought pain. But the stone caught the sun, just once, and in that flash, Obi felt something unfamiliar. Hope, thin and terrifying. He wrapped it in cloth torn from his only shirt and pressed it against his chest, his heart pounding as if it might betray him. That night, he did not sleep. He imagined Whitmore standing over him, imagined the stone screaming his secret. He imagined being accused, beaten, killed. He considered throwing it into the river, yet something stronger than fear held him still. The next morning, Obi ran. He left before dawn, barefoot, weak, carrying nothing but the stone and the memory of every insult he had swallowed. He walked until his feet split open, until blood stained the road. He begged for water and was chased away. He slept in ditches, woke to strangers' boots, learned how invisible a boy could be when he had nothing to offer. At a distant trading post, an old Indian trader looked at the stone and went pale. This the man whispered, "is a diamond." The word did not sound real. It sounded like another lie told to break him. But greed has a smell. Before Obi could disappear, questions followed. Whitmore arrived days later, smiling in a way that felt more dangerous than anger. He claimed ownership of the land, the stone, and the boy. He offered Obi a future of chains disguised as generosity. That night, Obi escaped again, this time knowing he would not survive a third chance. He crossed borders guided by stars and instinct. Hunger returned, but it no longer owned him. Eventually, the diamond was sold quietly, through hands that asked no questions. The money was overwhelming. Obi shook when he touched it, not from joy, but from grief, for the boy who had suffered so long without it. Years passed. Obi never returned to the farm. But he returned to the people like him. He built schools where children learned without fear, clinics where pain was treated, not ignored. He remained unseen, unnamed, because power had once made him small. On Whitmore's land, nothing grew anymore. The soil hardened, workers left. Some said the land was cursed, others said it had simply chosen who to reward. As for Obi, the scars never left his body, but they no longer owned him. The land had taken his childhood. Then finally, it gave something back. He lived happily ever after and reigned the streets of Johannesburg.